This team gets a big-time dub. This guy was on the active roster. Big conversation about that. 4-time NFL MVP. Merry Christmas, too. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Whoa! Babyface. Super babyface.
What's going on, guys?
Something's different, right? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
You got super babyface right now.
Shaved?
What, is this the... What do we...
Hey, Merry Christmas,
Hey, you look amazing. You look 20, 30 years younger.
Merry Christmas.
Not that you look 20, 30 years older. You just look like a super babyface.
No, I get it. I think I did. That's why I probably shaved.
No. What I'm saying is you look good, but you did. It was just different.
That's kind of a backhanded compliment.
Well, Artie Smith said I gave him the same thing. I don't mean to always do this, but it does appear to be the way I speak. I'm from Pittsburgh. I apologize. Merry Christmas. You look fantastic. Let's dive right in. Big time win. Let's go. What are we seeing? What are we doing? How are we feeling in it?
Well, I feel good about it. Obviously, we had a big lead there, 27-7. They came back, and Greg hit an unbelievable 54-yarder to win. But a lot of great performances on Sunday. Want to highlight Breece Hall. Breece, 95-plus yards receiving and rushing, and he's done it twice. And I saw a stat that said he's done it in like 22 games, and the other guys who've done it, it's been over 100 games. So big shout-out to Breece. He's a talented guy. This was an awesomely blocked play on the front side. And, give him a little bit of crease. He's going to go the distance. But I'm proud of Trevor. I thought Trevor
Don't
played a
give
nice
Breece a crease.
Nope.
But, it was a good win for us. It's fun. It's always more fun when you win. We got a short week now. We play Cleveland on Thursday. And which a lot of good storylines there. Joe Flacco's starting to quarterback for them, and we can only play spoilers, so we'll try and do our best.
Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, how impressive is it to watch Joe Flacco play, coming off the couch, driving his kids around and all that stuff he talked about early in the year, and then now how productive he is being on the field? Like, could you describe how difficult that might be to someone that doesn't really understand that?
I don't think anybody can understand it unless you realize how difficult it is when you get older, just to kind of stay in shape. If you're not working, and I'm assuming he was working, but to not have any training camp, any off season, and to just come in off the couch and be able to play like he's played. I look at the first game he played, and I feel like they went right down the field on one of the first drives, if not the first drive, and he threw a kind of classic Joe Flacco one ball for a touchdown, and that probably got him going pretty good. But Joe is one of the prettiest throwers of the football, I think, that I've seen in our time. He's got kind of that longer delivery, but the ball comes off nice. You watch what Coop did in the game. I mean, he was fantastic. 265 yards receiving is ridiculous. But Joe has always been a great deep ball thrower, and he had a couple, obviously, dimes. Look at that, just like deep out. Here's the awesome throw, put some top on it, and then letting Coop just use his body and make a play. Always been a fan of Amari's and happy for Joe. I don't really know Joe personally. I've kind of run into him a few times over the years, but always am told that we would be friends if we spent time together for whatever that means. So,
Joe dabbles with ayahuasca.
Well.
Maybe that's what he was doing the whole first half of the season.
Could have been.
Plants.
Could have been.
Yeah, not 100% sure. We've talked to Joe Flacco before. How'd it go?
Yeah, he basically just said, "Hey guys," and then that was it.
Yeah, somebody was doing our show from a building, Denver.
Yeah, it was Denver.
Yep. It was Brandon McManus was doing our show in Denver from like the Players Lounge. Like we FaceTimed him randomly, and he was like, "Yeah, a couple of the boys are here. Joe's here." We're like, "Joe's there? Flacco's there?" He turned, and Flacco goes, "Hey guys," and then he just walked off.
Yep.
It was like Flacco's on the show. Flacco's been on the show. We don't know him at all either.
So cool.
What's that?
Joe Cool. Yep. Joe Cool, man. This is so cool.
I don't think he talks to anybody. Even when he was at Baltimore, right, for so long. I don't think there's a lot of, he just kind of handled his business. He said, I guess it's allegedly come out, I don't know if he said it, that whenever you got injured, he called the Jets and was like, "Hey, is there any interest?" They said no. So, like, I assume the Jets aren't the only team in which his agent or he reached out to. It's like, nobody wanted this guy either. He thought there was a chance maybe it was over. It's been fun to watch that. A lot of good stories in the NFL right now. One that kicked, every other story to the side there for a little bit because it involves you and the New York Jets. So you got put on the active roster after your 21-day window closed last week. Okay, 21-day window to make a decision on whether he's going to be active or he's going to be IR for the rest of the season. This is the NFL. This is the NFL's rules. So whenever you go to the active roster, Nick Big Bottom Bodden is his name.
That's right.
Gets sent off the team. Okay, down to the practice squad, I do believe. He's been in the NFL 6 years, fully vested, so his contract is guaranteed throughout the entire season. This became a massive conversation because if you're not going to play, why are you taking Nick Big Bottom's spot? Why are you doing this? You're a bad guy. And now I assume that there is some sort of conversation that you would like to have or inform people of why this took place, how this took place. Practice, is that the reason? Is there a chance you play? What happened there behind the scenes? And when did you hear how pissed off people were about you getting put on the active roster last week?
Well, I figured there'd be some conversation about it. The story is simple. We lost to the previous week. And I was, again, targeting the 24th to come back. So I assumed I was going to go on IR. I asked to be put on IR because, there was a conversation, do you want to practice? And I said, not at the expense of somebody getting cut. I know how this works, and I didn't need to feel like I needed to practice to continue my rehab. I could do on-the-field stuff on the side. But obviously, I got overruled there. It is what it is. And, yeah, that was interesting situation. I called Nick right away. I just said, hey, I just hope you know this isn't coming from me. I asked him to put me on IR. But he actually said, hey, look, I'm vested. I'm getting my money. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. He would have got elevated this last week if he'd been healthy, but he'll be back up this week, I'm sure. But it's the same old thing. It's the same people with the same comments. I think what we should do, Pat, is the same people who are criticizing me, or coming up with these conspiracies, about my injury or whatever. Before they talk, let's go back to 2021 and let's make people say their vax status to start. Then that'll frame all these comments in the right window.
Okay.
So before they say something, let's have them say, and ESPN's probably going to shut us off here, but let's have them say, hey, I'm so and so, double vaxxed with Pfizer and triple boosted, and my opinion about this is this guy's a bad guy because he just wanted to practice and took money away. Then at least you'd know, and everybody could know at that point, that they have their puppet masters who are puppeteering them to say this certain thing about this guy, and that they're still upset about the fact that I believe in medical freedom. So it's the same tired narrative, and it's an interesting spot for me because I'm basically just saying, hey, IR, right? Let's just this season, is over for me. Again, I got overruled, so because of that, I was on the practice field. I love the practice. Didn't want it to be at the expense of, of a teammate, but again, that's out of my control. But again, it's the same people. So let's make sure we're asking the right questions to these people before they start spouting off, so we can actually frame each one of these specific comments in the right perspective.
I'm not sure we're ever going to be able to get that passed, but I do appreciate that you at least look into some of these people and be like, oh, I wonder what this person has said about me maybe 2 years ago while I was in the middle of winning an MVP and other stuff. And there's a lot of that has happened against you. We got to ride alongside of that, by the way. And that's still a lingering effect of it all, let alone people that have never really heard you speak. Go ahead.
They're still mad I'm I'm co-ed MVP, not just the two MVPs that I won, but also because I didn't bow down to the medical industrial complex and the mass formation psychosis, and I decided to make a decision that was in the best interest of my health.
Of course.
And they're still trying to get their jabs in. They're still trying to take a victory lap that somehow I couldn't beat science this time. It's right. Like, oh really? I was on the practice field 11 weeks. I was in line to be able to push to play in after 14 weeks. So take it easy on the victory laps and have another jab while you're at it.
Okay. Well, I don't know if they'll do that. I hope they're remaining safe. Are those still? Those are still.
Oh, yeah.
I'm watching.
2-1, baby.
Yeah, I'm still watching. I'm watching the commercials for it. What'd you say? Mass formation psychosis? Is that what you said there in the middle of that thing?
Yeah. That's a good one. Look that one up. I know Connor knows about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Look that one up.
As soon as it came out of your mouth, my brain was like, that has to be something. Yeah. Where the hell? Now, the journalist in me should ask a follow-up for you to explain that all, but I think the people that don't call me a journalist for that thing would not be happy if you were to explain that. So I think it is an interesting, little give and take on how some people feel about stuff, especially because of things that have happened in the past. But let's talk about your practicing and you being back on the field. You were throwing with flight school, and I think that was mass formation psychosis as well.
There it is.
All getting on the same page. Hey,
Yep.
recognize, hey, everybody's got to be mass formation psychosis.
Exactly.
Right on the same there. And look how happy you are every time it's said. I cannot wait to find out what the hell this means or where it came from. But you were doing flight school. Okay, you were doing flight school. You're throwing to the practice squad guys after practice. You were doing your thing. Now, I guess you played corner and you had a jumping, spinning interception last week that obviously captivated headlines and conversation because they said this guy might actually be back healthy. What are we doing? Now, are you running quarterback against the scout team? How do you feel? How are you playing? And what do the next few weeks look like for you?
Well, we had mostly walked through last week, and then Friday we had like a helmets practice. So I took all the look team 11 on 11 reps, and then today is a walkthrough. Tomorrow's more of a I think helmet practice. So I'll take the scout team reps there. It was good practice on Friday. I feel really good. I'm obviously bummed out about the season and not getting a chance to get back on the field. But it is what it is. I think you just got to figure out where your perspective is and your focus is. And the holidays help you with that. If you're sitting around counting the things you don't have, you'll miss out on the blessings that are around you. So I'm thankful for a lot of things that happened this season, not for the injured part, but there was a lot of little miracles along the way, friendships and special people who showed up for me, and just little blessings in the midst of the frustration. So a good time to reflect over Christmas, even though we were in the building yesterday for a little bit. But yeah, I'll be excited to close out the season and then look forward to coming back next year and the years to come.
Are you spending it? We're spending it right now. We feel good.
Yeah, I feel great. I really do. My body feels good. Not able to reach a top speed, which who knows what that is for me these days. But
running or throwing? Running or throwing?
No. The arm is good. The throwing. I've been throwing since a lot since week 8. So 8 weeks post surgery. So this is 15 tomorrow. So arm feels great. Back to all my workouts, squatting, everything. It's just I can't sprint. Whatever my full speed was, but the running's been good. I'm able to move around laterally, and so it's good to feel more like myself. It's good to be with the guys. Like I love. I've always loved practice and love competing, but obviously wish there was something to play for playoff wise.
Yeah, I think we all thought that storybook ending was going to come to be what it was. And I didn't understand the reaction whenever you said, like, you're not going to play now because the team has been eliminated. That was the plan this whole time. You know what I mean? Team's still alive, mathematically still alive, and you feel healthy enough to get on the field, you were going to play. Like, that was kind of what the story was this entire time. But the people who we did not ask, the qualifying question.
Yeah, should have asked the vac status there. Yeah, I didn't quite understand it either. I think the whole point was, if we won against Miami, then the plan was to take 11 on 11 reps for the first team, and then see how I responded. What I was saying was, there's no guarantee I would have been cleared because I would have to respond the right way, and then Mr. Johnson. Joe Douglas, Salah, everybody, Dave, Neil Elitrosh, Heather, everybody would have got together and said, yes, we feel comfortable allowing him to play, along with, no setbacks during the week of practice. But, it's the what if game, which is hard to go down, but that would have been the week schedule. So I think some of this stuff was a little bit kind of taken out of context when I said, I just wanted to remind people, it wasn't a guarantee. We beat Miami always playing, but that would have been the week schedule that we would have gone down, was to try and get ready to play. So because we got eliminated, and that was my whole point. Yeah, I'm not 100%, but the willingness to play and being cleared to play wasn't dependent on 100%. It was dependent on how I looked in practice, how I responded, and my ability to move in a small area and to play under center, which I've proven in practice that I can do that. So, but the whole point was, if you're not 100% and we're out of the playoffs, they're not going to clear you. My story about 2018 was I was, nobody's 100% late in the season, but I was, as good as I could be in 2018, and I wanted to play even though we were eliminated from playoff contention because I wanted to play for Joe Philbin, our interim head coach. Thought that was the right thing to do instead of shut it down, and that's why I played. Different situation, when you're not 100% healthy, obviously.
Well, in the last game of the year there, I believe, against the Lions, right? Was it against the Lions?
You were there.
Yeah.
I took a clothesline, kind of like the one that AJ gave me in the 2006 family night scrimmage.
AJ, in front of the families, huh? Wow. Hope you're happy. Had to do it. Did you flip off your coaches, too, immediately afterwards?
Yeah, well, Aaron was is playing quarterback when he's not live, wearing a red jersey in a scrimmage in the stadium that was full, and he's pulling keepers and running the ball around the edge and trying to juke people out, and we're not allowed to hit him, and he gets upset if someone gives him a little shove after the whistle.
AJ, you were representing the entire defense at that exact point, huh? That's what you're doing?
All of Lambeau. Just all of Lambeau. Yeah. I was trying
I think the fans were probably, ooh.
Sweet.
And everybody on defense was doing a whole. AJ was being a leader there, Aaron, a real leader at that moment.
Tone setter.
Pillar. You don't agree with that?
I have another word for it, but I'll share that.
Mass hysteria? That's what. That's what. Yeah, I think that is the. Anyway, speaking of mass hysteria, Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Aaron, did you notice yesterday on social media any extra Merry Christmases to you from Detroit since now that you have left the division, they have won their first division title in 30 years, and how do you feel about the Detroit Lions finally doing it?
I'm not happy. Although I'm in New York, I definitely still want the green and gold to take the North every year.
Oh, yeah.
But they got a good football team. Jarrett's had a really nice season. Obviously, St. Brown is a fantastic receiver. They got a lot of guys, two really good backs. Jameer's had a really nice year, and always been a fan of Montgomery, the way he runs the ball, his toughness. Line's really good on both sides of the ball. Defense been playing good. So they got a good football team. So they're going to, host a playoff game. I think the NFC is pretty deep. I think we can all agree on that, right? When we saw, there's got to be some NFC teams feeling better if they watched that game yesterday and saw how Baltimore, beat San Fran. Philly's been up and down. Dallas has been up and down. Detroit's, had their moments too where they haven't looked great. Probably should have lost to the Bears. Packers beat them in Detroit. So, I think the NFC is pretty wide open. AFC is interesting. Obviously, Baltimore looks really, really strong. There's a lot of teams still alive for kind of the 7th spot. Buffalo's ascending. Josh is playing really good football, and they're starting to run the football well. So it's going to be interesting the last couple of weeks. A lot to play for a lot of these teams. There'll be elimination games. I think Green Bay plays Minnesota this week, and that's kind of an elimination. I guess it is an elimination game unless some crazy stuff happens. So where's that game at, Ty? Is that Lambeau or is that?
I believe it's at Lambeau, but it actually might be in Minnesota.
Oh no, because Kirk got hurt at Lambeau.
Yeah.
So it must be at that was crazy electric. That was a wild night. And I actually played halfway decent, but Farvey again played unbelievable, and they beat us. So there was a lot of energy. It'd be emotional for sure. But yeah, definitely hoping for Lambeau or Soldier Field.
Yeah, that'd be fun for all of us, I think. And let's put that in the middle of the season at prime time.
Ooh.
Because middle of the season primetime game is kind of down. That seems like a lock.
Oh, yeah.
That feels like we got one in the bag if we need it for next year. Excited to see you return to the Jets. I think Jets fans also getting back on board with this is how, Here we go. I think, not all of them, but I think there is a momentum towards next season that we're all pumped about. Speaking of momentum, seems like it's lost in one particular place. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Aaron, you're no stranger to this because it seemed like the cameras used to get you, like when you'd be pissed. There's obviously that GIF on Twitter of you throwing the Microsoft Surface. But for whatever reason, we never used to see that, in the first several years of Patrick Mahomes' career. And then, the last 4 weeks or whatever, every time the camera shows him on the sideline, he's either ripping someone apart or yelling at somebody or getting pissed. Do you think with the way they've been playing, that's just a culmination of him kind of always having to be perfect, if you will, or, he's the poster boy for a lot of stuff, and he's kind of just starting to lose his shit because they're starting to lose games, and people are talking about the drops and his receivers and them not playing their best football and the dynasty might be over? What's your take on all the stuff going on with Mahomes right now?
I would say mostly overreaction.
No.
I think, yeah.
What?
I think the first shot was him talking to his line. That's fine. I mean, listen, we've all had outbursts in the sidelines, yelling matches or throwing stuff. I never really threw my helmet. I don't think. Somebody probably find a clip of me doing it at some point, but I tossed a few surfaces over the years and did some yelling, mostly to myself or just out loud or up in the air, some colorful metaphors. But it's an emotional game, and he's hyper competitive. Watching the game yesterday, obviously I'm a big fan of Pat's and love watching him play. To me, it seems like it's tough right now because there's not a lot of on-time throws. Pat's so good, with the second reaction stuff. And even yesterday, he made just silly plays, where he's extending, a late throw or moving up in the pocket, pump fake, making stuff happen. The touchdown he had where he kind of moved left, moved right, threw back across his body. I just think there's too much of that. They're relying too much on that, and he needs some. We all do. We need some rhythm throws, and so it seemed like yesterday was either a screen to Rice or Kelsey, or it was Pat just running around. So some more easy throws I think would be good, but again, the AFC. I mean, I know Pat has never played a playoff game on the road. Who gives a shit? It's still him, and obviously, they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. They have great coordinators. They're going to be a tough out for anybody. But it's interesting. That team is really good. I think Buffalo is really good. As good as Baltimore is, I don't think there's anybody. On either side, like we felt about San Francisco earlier in the season, where these guys are going to steamroll everybody. And San Francisco is still really good, really good.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like
they're dead. Remember?
Yeah, it's
they're
over.
Dead. They're
Done.
dead. It's figured out. Not that Baltimore's defense number one in the league and might be tough to play.
Offense.
And they have good night. And the football gods, Brock Purdy, you get nothing.
Slaughtered.
Well, listen. I mean, Brock's had a great year, and we all have nights where we struggle. And you had multiple bounces kind of go against them. This was just not a great read. And I don't really understand the concept on the backside, to be honest, because there was nothing really holding the backside safety. They ran an under and a kind of stick return. So if they had maybe run Kittle on a corner route here, then Hamilton's probably held, and then he can make that throw in there.
Of course.
But
that's what I thought too. That's what I thought.
But listen, Brock's had a really nice season. I'm going to segue and offer this up to the panel here. And obviously I'm a little biased because of the position I play. And MVP has really become a best quarterback award, or best quarterback on the best team award. Quarterback on the best team award, or the running back can get or a receiver, if they had 2,000 yards, right? Is this a year where it's just going to go to the quarterback on the best team, or does a guy like CMC have a chance to legitimately win this, or Tyreek Hill? Is Mostert on there? I mean, he's got like 20 touchdowns too. I guess he's not. Right?
21.
Yeah. Is this just what are the odds now? Okay, so Lamar's number one. Then what? McCaffrey. Who is that? Tua, Josh, Brock, Dak, Tyreek, and Jalen. Yeah, so it's basically Tyreek, who's leading the league by a couple hundred yards at receiver, and CMC, who I believe is a couple hundred yards up as well. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think both those guys deserve a lot of consideration. The other guy, and I saw some stats, and I know Josh has had turnovers this year, but the guy has 40 combined touchdowns again in 4 straight years. And the team has been, they won 4 straight, I believe, and 3 of those were pretty damn good opponents, playoff teams. If they finish the last 2 and win out, and if Miami loses their next one, the week 18 is going to be for the division. So
Bills would be 11-6 then. Ooh. Pretty good. Pretty good record.
And I think
it looks a little bit more appetizing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, what if Josh has 8 touchdowns the last 2 weeks and finishes with 48 combined touchdowns? How do you not put him in the conversation?
Well, it does feel like there is a chance that somebody here at the end could come win this thing, because every single week, and D-Butt was actually going to bring this up because you won an MVP 4 times, and I think J.J. Watt would say, one of the times you won it, he's potentially Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill in this particular situation. He's brought that up a few times. Just while JJ, I don't know how often you talk to JJ. That is something that is in the back of his mind.
Oh, petty.
It is right here. You need to know that when you're talking to him. He's like, hey, Burnley's fun, doing this. It's a blast. Right back.
You agree with him?
What year was he talking about? 2014?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I believe it was 14.
16 as well, because he said he had touchdowns that year.
Yeah, he said like the MVP, there's 2 different awards. There needs to be the best player and then the MVP. Mm-hmm. He said the most valuable player will always be a quarterback. Touches the ball every single play, has to make every decision, will have to make the wide receivers good, has to make the team good. Definitely the most valuable player is always going to be a quarterback, he said. But there should be a best player award as well. And he thought about that after losing to you and sitting in a car afterwards, so pissed off about life. That's what I think happened personally, Aaron.
What, in 2012, where we had 6 touchdowns against them, or what's he talking about?
2014 here. This is the year he had. The Texans have got his back. 5 touchdowns, 3 receiving, 20 and a half sacks. I think it's a record, close, 22 and a half?
22 and a half. Yeah.
22 and a half. 78 tackles, 5 fumble recovers, 1 interception, 1 forced safety, all pro. Now that is...
29 TFLs.
Oh, he was D end and D tackle, all pros. He was all pro at 2 positions.
Yeah.
It's a good year.
That's a great year. Yeah, really good year.
What did you cooked? You cooked that year. Yeah. You had to have had a great one in 2014.
38 and 5.
38 touchdowns.
Not bad.
So JJ got to the point where he started looking at your stats. He was like, yeah, all right, that guy had a great year. Is valuable or is it best? We know you have to go.
Listen, JJ, hey, he had a great career. He's a yellow jacket guy. I mean, I think I'm going to be able to hold that over him for the rest of our lives, which is great.
When you guys are in the Hall of Fame, family portrait,
oh yeah,
just standing right over JJ.
Yep.
Just the whole time, just
hand on his shoulder.
Man, it might have been like a 2-minute discussion instead of a 5-minute discussion for you to get in the Hall of Fame if you had won the MVP. Just couldn't do it, could you? Just couldn't do it, JJ. Aaron, enjoy the rest of the day. We appreciate you joining us, and I'm happy, that you're not on IR and away from the building and not able to do anything. I'm happy you're practicing with the boys.
I wasn't going anywhere anyway, though. I mean, I said from the time I got back from the West Coast, I wasn't going anywhere. But listen, I love the guys.
Dolphins are boning right now, too, out there in L.A. That's a big sacrifice. You could be watching and healing with them.
Yeah, and it's whale season too. The humpbacks are giving birth. So you know
they're doing this one too. They're doing this one, jumping straight out and then just falling into the water. Oh, that's a 10-story building that just jumped out of the water right there because they're so excited about what they're doing under the water. Outside this guy's house.
Yeah.
He said, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see any erections. Right? You know what you said?
I would no. I mean, I was going to say the frequency associated with the whale birthing process is actually supposedly very beneficial to
vaccinations,
various injury recovery stuff. I don't think it can cleanse your body of some of the spike protein, but it's supposed to be pretty good for it.
Damn it.
It does make you immunized, though, I heard. You know what I mean? Heard you'll be immunized through it all. Anyways, enjoy your day. You dropped a couple bombs in there early.
It was sweet.
Excited to see the reactions to that whole thing. You know what I mean? Anytime you're saying ESPN's probably taking us off TV right now, you're in the middle one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
Hot bat.
You're in the middle one. We appreciate that. We do. We genuinely enjoyed talking to you. Merry Christmas. Thank you for making time. We'll see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, see you next year.
Yes.
Oh!
Ooh. First one.
Pretty
First
good.
one I've heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. That's why the Celebrity Jeopardy thing just killed.
Bingo.
Boom.
He saw the opportunity. He prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
He knew.
He knew.